Good morning. It is Monday. Duh. All right. Hope you guys had a good weekend. If you had to work, hope you had a profitable weekend. Or maybe you did. Maybe you're privileged enough to do both. Maybe you had a great weekend that you enjoyed, but you were still profitable. Isn't that the magic? Isn't that the magic point, right? So, still fighting this poison ivy slash lilac, whatever. Um, I got a big, huge spot on my arm. Look at it. Isn't that gross? Like, here, I'll move the mic. Isn't that? And then I got it on my face right here. And then I got it all over my hand. Like, look at my hands. Ooh. I'm diseased. Plants are bad for you. Plants hate me. That's why I try not to eat them anymore. Although I fail at that sometimes. I had lettuce yesterday. God forbid, right? That's why I like the term ketovore because, sometimes you can't be so dogmatic on the carnivore. Although I did have a lot of steak last night for dinner. I'm trying another 36-hour fast, so that will help. Anyways, good morning. It's Monday. I had to cover a truck before I went live. I'm not going to sit here and have a truck sitting empty at the dock going, dude, what the heck? While I'm like live telling you low board stuff, that would look stupid, right? That would not be good. And the last thing I want to do is look stupid. Although I fail at that many, many times, I try to at least minimize that. And I knew that booking first thing Monday morning, usually that's not a strategy I like, but I saw the area that we were in and I saw that it was going to work. And sure enough, boom, got a decent load. So, but anyways, good morning. I hope all is well. It's been I hope you all, if you're a mother, hope you had a good Mother's Day. If you're not a mother, I hope you spoiled your mother. And Hallmark's got to get their cut of these greeting card holidays. So, but it's good. It's good to honor the mother. It's good. So, um, one of the things I will mention is I went live on the small channel. I did end up making it private. I might make it public, or I might make it unlisted and just put the link up for the members. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll just put it back up. I don't know. I have trouble judging my own videos, and it's people call it inspirational. I call it me being an egotistical bastard that thinks he knows something. So I struggle with that every single day. So, but I enjoy this YouTube thing. I had a great heavy metal weekend. A friend from Phoenix that's moving down here, he stayed with us Saturday, and he's just, I mentioned this on the other channel. He's just like in this zone. Like, he is very focused, very grateful individual. He's one of these proof positives that the law of attraction works because because he's always got a pretty positive outlook on everything. So it was just, he was just having a good time at the show. We went to this King Diamond Merciful Fate tribute show, which was cool. Some friends of mine playing that, and it was a good time. And there was a new band called Grand Inquisitor that opened up. They had this female singer. She was really good. The band was really good. And the drummer I've known for years, probably 20 some odd years. So it was a good time. It was good to not focus on the internet and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and just live in the moment. And I found myself coming back to Sunday morning watching the YouTubes thinking that all this stuff just seems ridiculous and redundant and insignificant to the bigger picture of finding where your happiness is. So then I also got the news that about somebody's engine blowing, and it's taking them out. So it's getting tough, man. It's definitely getting tough, and it wasn't really the cost, just not really wanting to, like, you know what? I'm not buying another truck. I'm out. I'm done. So I just don't want to do it anymore. He was on the verge of retirement anyways, so maybe it was a blessing in disguise. You know, it's interesting. Here's Steve's morning minute. Okay, text. Well, no. So here's the thing. How many of you can look back at horrible things or things that were negative at the time that they happened, but then you look back and you say, you know, that was probably one of the best things that happened. Isn't that interesting how that happens? Like you get fired from a job. Oh, that's horrible. But then like 3 or 4 or 5 years later, you're like, wow, that really opened up a lot of opportunity for me. So that was a blessing in disguise. How many, you know, that's just how life works. Someday you're going to look at this spot market and you're going to go, this downturn that we're in right now is actually going to be a blessing in disguise. It's either going to make you realize that maybe you're not cut out for this business, or maybe it's going to make you realize just where you need to strengthen yourself, strengthen your business, or it's going to make you at least go, you know what, I survived the downturn of 2023. You know, and it's 2 years later and you're doing good. There's a lot of teaching moments. There's a lot of teaching moments. There's still money to be made. We have guys that are doing it, guys and gals that are doing it. So now I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm not saying they're not making sacrifices. That's not true at all. Everybody's making sacrifices. If you're making it right now, it's because you're making sacrifices, whether it's not being home as much, whether it's, you know, going back to YouTube regular instead of YouTube premium and you're having to watch ads. It could be something as small as that. It could be something as, you know, or maybe you found some secondary work that helps. So multiple streams of income, that's a great thing. Maybe this market has forced you to find other means of revenue to create along with your truck instead of your truck. So I mean, there's a lot of blessings. And you should be grateful for the lessons that this market is going to give you. I know that sounds weird, but it's the truth. Truth. All right. Enough of that jazz mataz. All right, let's look at the comments here. WCF Invader, I'm ready. You post this comment before I even hit the go live button on the stream. I don't know why it does that. I'm ready for some cold low board action, boss. Keep up the positivity. Good day, CDN. Grafton, what's up? Greg Zimmer, good morning. Mr. Charles, morning, Snorelord in chat. Chucky gave me some great load board information last night. CB, what's up? PRTV, what's up? CDN, good morning, Steve. Wishing you a great week. I'm finally dropping a video this morning. Excellent. Everybody go check out CDN Freight Brokers. You need an avatar. You need to put in a picture there in your avatar instead of just the big C. But yeah, go check out CDN's channel there. Feel free to put your channel link in there, CDN. Pigtail Yo from Smallville. Good morning, you crazy metal animal. I don't know about that. About time, Rob, says Pigtail. I think somehow I'm getting notifications from Streamro when you go live now. I'm very confused. Well, you know, it is what it is, right? Love that shirt. Thank you, Ryan. I love Crowbar. They're one of my favorite bands. They played here in town, and I bought 2 of their shirts. I have 3 Crowbar shirts. This one is... this one's got the... I don't know why I bought this one, but the other one I bought because it had swords and it had the tour dates on it. So that makes it extra cool. Lettuce is high in H2O. That is absolutely 100% true. I had one of them Jimmy John's Unwitches, which the mayonnaise probably isn't that great for you because it's probably canola based. But other than that, that was kind of an appetizer for the huge amounts of steak that I bought or that I cooked yesterday. And I feel amazing. So Shannon, what's up? Pigtail, saying hi to Shannon. Jose, good morning. Schmitty Trucking, good morning. Jackknife, yo, what the F is going on? Here to be enlightened, have some facts spit about the market situation we're in. There you go. Desiroki Pam, good morning. We got guys on Facebook, began drivers to help them out either financially or with the ride because they can't afford a plane ticket to pick their new truck already out of business before it started. Let's talk about that, Mr. Jackknife. So let's pretend that you're working at McDonald's, right? And you're barely making ends meet, right? But you work hard, you know, you enjoy the job because you're weird, you know, and you're sitting there and you're doing. They don't even flip burgers anymore. They put them in this tray and it cooks them or something. I don't know. I've never worked in a McDonald's, so, but I'm going to use this as an analogy here. And then someone goes, "Hey, man, do you want to start a business?" And you're like, "Man, I'm barely making ends meet. I got like $50 to my name after my bills are paid. After I pay my rent and my car payment and my and taking my girlfriend out, to the movies. I barely have $50, right?" And someone goes, "Well, dude, tell you what, I'm going to make you a business owner. I'm gonna loan you $180,000." And you're gonna be like, "But it's the equipment you're gonna need to run this business. But I barely have $50 to my name. Why would I make an investment of $180,000 when I could barely make my car payment?" So if someone, think back in your teenagehood when you had your first job, and someone says, "Hey, do you want to make $180,000 investment? You want to do that? Well, how much a month is that going to cost me?" About $5,000 a month." "Really? I could barely make ends meet now." "Oh, but you're going to make so much money." In fact, there was an article someone sent me about in Pigtail. If you want to put that article in here about how owner operators make $300,000 a year. Wow, that's a lot of money. But I still only have $50 to my name after my paycheck, after I pay all bills. You'll make the money. You'll be all right. Would you have fallen for that back when you were 19, 20, 21 years old? Think about that. Be honest with yourself. Would you have dived into that? You can own your own McDonald's. Wow. Why don't you do that? Would you have done that? No. But yet every single day you hear stories like what Jackknife just put out. And that's the reality. I was no different. The only difference is I made a $50,000 investment. My first truck was $50,000, and I only had to put $2,000 down, and I had credit cards to cover the repairs that floated us for a month before I got my first real money. So I fall victim to that. I'm no different. I'm no better. Okay, so you sit there like, okay, I hear stories of people starting off with $20 in their pocket when they get their new truck, and now they have their own authority and they're very successful today. Okay, well that's great. Do you have the same mindset and the same drive and the same determination as that person that did that? Because that is an anomaly, not the normal. And so any of you considering being an owner operator or any business kind of owner, any kind of business owner, take that into consideration. If you are barely paying your bills now, owning a business isn't going to fix it. If anything, you're going to take a pay cut until you get good at it until you get a groove. So if you own said restaurant, you got to get employees, you got to get good managers, you got to learn the system, you got to learn every aspect of your industry, and then you might reap the rewards, as long as the you know external forces that you have no control over don't come crashing down on you. There's determination, there's passion. I get it. All right. And I had this talk with somebody the other day about selective sacrifice. We're going to get real here for a minute. And this is probably going to annoy a couple of you. I talk to so many drivers that sit there and like, I'll stay out for 3 months straight. 3 months straight. I can't talk. Let me start over. I talk to drivers that say, I'll stay out 3 months straight. I'm going to miss some kid holidays. I'm going to miss some birthdays. I'm just going to work. I'm just going to work to the bone. I'm going to, and then you're on there, you're on this whole sacrifice thing. I'm sacrificing time with my kids and time with my family, and I'm missing out on these events at home so I can make this work. What's your cost per day? I don't know. What's your cost per mile? I think it's 59 cents a mile. I'm not sure. So what are you sacrificing for? What's your sacrifice? Here's a sacrifice. Stay off the YouTube, stay off the Netflix, stay out of the Popeyes or KFC, whatever floats your boat. How about the sacrifice is, instead of entertaining yourself, hopped up on dopamine on TikToks, you make the sacrifice of knowing your numbers 100%. So when it comes time for the birthdays, when it comes time for the anniversaries, when it comes time for the kids to say, hey, parents, I want you home, you can do that. How about that sacrifice? How about the sacrifice of not needing something right off the showroom floor? Something with a more manageable payment, right? Now, there are people with new trucks that are doing well. Shannon's doing well with her truck. But she's in a very unique situation with like trucking. The Schneiders and the Primes and all these places that are charging you like $1,500 to $2,000 a week for a truck. You're going to sacrifice more than I think you're willing to do. Because here's something I've learned. You don't get time back. You can make money. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose your health and get it back. Within reason. But time, you don't get that back. And the struggles that I have today with family is because I was not home for a large part of their lives. To me, that sacrifice wasn't worth it. You don't get time back, because I know people that ran circles around me. I know people that doubled, if not even tripled, the revenue that I made, that are not even driving trucks anymore because they burned themselves out. They lost, they got divorced. They went bankrupt. They fell victims to alcohol and drugs, or their physical health was so bad that they had to get off the road because they can't pass their CDL physical. So sacrifice is not the only thing you need to focus on. It's calculated. What are you willing to give up? And you know what? There's a smarter way. Selective sacrifice. There's a smarter way to make these sacrifices. The first truck I owned, it was a piece of crap. Wasn't the most comfortable truck. Wasn't the best fuel mileage truck. But I knew those limitations. I knew that it was temporary. I knew I'd eventually get into this one that's behind me here that I actually wanted. I wanted a 680 right when they came out. And so what would it take to get to that point? Well, I wasn't making those steps. All I did was sitting there crying in my fast food addiction about how crappy the Landstar low board was. That's all I did. And you know, I look back at that, I'm like, that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. I had to fall down so I can learn how to get up. And so if you have fear and anxiety right now about losing your business or not making the payments on your truck, figure out where that fear is coming from and fix it. You know, yesterday's live feed on the small channel, I talked about controlling your emotions. That's the number one thing you can do. It's above, because everything else will fall into place. Your finances, your health, everything else will fall into place if you can control your emotions. And I struggle with that every day. You know, something triggered me on YouTube yesterday, or was it Sunday? Yeah. Maybe it was Saturday. And I paced. I immediately wanted to tell the whole world that, you know, I was angry about this, which, you know, that's kind of messed up in the head to begin with. And I didn't go live. I didn't make a video. I didn't make a comment. I said, Steve, why do you feel this way? Well, because this, and this. All right, well, calm down, dude. Hey, you're right. This is insignificant. This means nothing in the grand scheme of things. And I got over it. That's the best skill you could possibly have. Because if you are in control of your emotions, you can be as emotional as you want as long as you're within control. And if you control your emotions, then when the bad thing happens to you, you can deal with it. You're not susceptible to the dopamine receptors that they're trying to launch with social media and with the food and with external circumstances. And the calmer you can remain during a storm, the more likely you are to get on the other side of the storm. It's literally that simple. We can sit here and go over the low board. You know, look at this, you know, go here and this, that, and the other. Doesn't matter. One of these days you're going to end up in, I don't know, Utah with no freight, and you're going to have an emotional reaction. That's what we're designed to do. And then you got to figure it out. And if you don't remain calm, it makes it a lot harder to figure it out. Twitch, good morning. Patrick, good morning. Hopefully this downturn makes everyone realize that just because you can hold a steering wheel doesn't mean you can run a business, budget your money properly, so stay the F out. What would I do? What I would love to do is get a petition together and submit to the FMCSA to make the new fee to get your authority, whether that be carrier broker 5K, to use that money for something useful. The government is not the solution. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Because not everybody's an authority owner. What's that going to solve? All it's going to do is give the government another element of control over who can get their own authority or not. So I disagree with that, Jackknife. The government is not going to save you. So Jackknife TV, tell me something. If you would have had to pay $5,000 to get your authority, would you have done it? Would that would have made it impossible for you to get your authority? Would have been a deterrent? Because not everybody in the spot market has their own authority. We got 20 drivers here that don't have their own authority. Right? Brian, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. Josh the Vegan, howdy. Carnivore Trucker, good morning. I saw your Walmart haul video. I did a similar one, although it wasn't carnivore, it was more keto, but I've got some new health stuff that I've been researching that is going to blow your guys' minds. And I'm not sure which channel I'm going to put that on. I don't know if it's going to be this one or the small one, but it's definitely something to know. Right? Pigtail put the article up. 10 highest paying trucking salaries of 2023. We'll go over that here. There's still lots of money in trucking. That's why new authorities are still climbing. We're not at the turning point yet. We've lost 9,000 trucking authorities this year. And not everybody gets their own authority is entering the spot market. That's another point that needs to be made over and over and over. You can be an authority owner and not be in the spot market at all. You can have like I talked to a driver that wanted my dispatch services because he got his own authority because he got a direct customer. And then some mega carrier came out and underbid him, and he lost it after 3 years. So that's here's the thing. There's a small window of perception here that needs to be widened. Do you know how many trucks are not on the spot market? Do you know how many trucking businesses survive very well because they specialize or because they have direct customers or they have their own product? You work for a private fleet like Walmart, man, you're good. The spot market is just a small sector of the trucking industry. Ask any broker. I know the brokerage CDN is that. Do you know how many times I see their loads on the DAT board? I think I've seen it once in the last year or so. FedEx Ground or FedEx Critical. They're a brokerage. I get 80 emails from them a day. That's not an exaggeration. Between 60 and 80 emails a day. What was the last time you saw a FedEx load on the low board? You have to. We all have to expand our perception of how you can make money, and that's the beauty of the spot market right now. It should be forcing you to expand your vision on how you can make money if you want to stay in the trucking industry. And buying a $220,000 truck that gets, not great fuel mileage and getting an authority and hoping for the best with the brokers being in control of your revenue, it goes way beyond that. To me, that's not a smart business decision. Hence the reason why I don't have my own authority and why I got a truck that gets better fuel mileage than that. I would never, ever, ever spend $200,000 on anything, not even a home, unless I could afford it. Don't they call that a lease? Yes. Yeah, you'll make money. Forget about the maintenance on the truck, permit fees if you're but man, going from flipping burgers to CO, man, thanks, Prime. Most professional Class 8 drivers make between $55K and $70,000 a year. Those stories, Snorelord, are the exception, not the norm. Either they're very lucky or they have a particular set of skills and business knowledge along with personal budgeting. Our fleet ranges from 65 to 120K. So, to hear that, Bella Flor has company drivers that make anywhere between $65,000 and $120,000 a year. I started with 50K. I got my own authority, bought a truck, trailer, 60K each, 10 to 20% down each. That wasn't even enough money. I was blessed I had a good market to build from. There you go. And Don, you're doing all right. DIY Semi, he's doing okay. Good to see you. Well, as long as you have a good business plan and you're determined and financially disciplined, those short-term sacrifices really pay off when you're on your $20,000 bass boat going over the first quarter. Numbers. It's continued. With your financial assistant fighting out, you just scored 2 more contracts with Target and Costco. Quick hit, good morning. I got 3 heavy hitters in here today. The food is a big expense while OTR. Yes. A lot of people don't like, everybody's like, my costs are, $150 a day. What about your personal costs? How much money do you spend a week on food? So, okay, carnivore trucker, let me ask you, that Walmart haul that you did was about $150, right? Is that for the whole week? If so, we're going to do some math. Let's say it's a week, right? And he's trying to eat healthy. You got to try to eat healthy, right? Carnivore trucker's trying to eat healthy. So we go to our good old calculator, $150 times 4. That's $600 a month in food alone if you're trying to eat healthy. And maybe you get the cheap stuff, so it's $100 a week. That's $400 a month. How many of you calculated into your cost of operation? If you don't add your salary, right? That should come out of your salary, right? But there are drivers that don't separate salary from their business. So carnivore trucker, $600 times 12, that's $7,200 a year in food alone. Food alone. Whatever is my default coping mechanism for trucking works better than FU, and I'm very rarely angry. Yeah, that's a good way to control emotions. Less taxes and fees, not more. Well, bless their hearts, right, CB? Did one on exercises y'all can do in a cab. There you go. Everybody check out Carnivore Trucker's channel there. No, I don't mean more regulation. I just mean setting the barrier a little bit higher so we may not have the crazy influx of new authorities, maybe balance out a little bit. Well, it's called insurance, Jackknife. $300 is the fee to get your own authority. but you're going to need, most insurance is running for a single truck authority is running between $12,000 and $15,000 for the year, and you have to have a certain amount down for that. There's your barrier. And not to mention, what if you have a grant? What if you have a loan? What if you have, maybe you went to the bank and you said, hey, I need a loan for $100,000 so I can start my trucking business. And having the FMCSA dictate how much it costs to get your authority, that's government intervention. I would have had to pay $5,000 when I did get my authority just before COVID. I would have done it, and most likely when the market did crash, instead of pulling out extremely fast, I would have stayed in. Because of the $5,000 investment that I just made. Okay, so how much did you pay for your truck? I'm going to play devil's advocate here with you, Jackknife. You may not like it, but how much did you pay for that truck? That was an investment. That wasn't enough to keep everything going. I don't think $5,000 would have made a difference. Just happened. Bad things are always someone else's fault. Am I right? Right? My boss had 15 drivers, and it's all local contract freight. There you go. I'm private fleet now. I drive 5 days a week, may go over 110K, and have more freedom, especially from brokers, than I've owned it than when I owned the truck and trailer. I was just reading an article that said contract rates are still doing pretty decent because shippers are lenient to go back to the spot market and the yo-yo rates and sketchy service. There you go. So guess what? The carriers that figured that out and weren't trying to price gouge are now sitting pretty, watching everybody else go under. All the emails that I was getting 6 months ago, they've stopped. They found their trucks. They found their dedicated carriers. They're not load smart. Among other load boards or brokers aren't even posting on load boards anymore. I estimate that 90 to 92% freight moves off the load board. Not off the load board, but away from the load board, right? But the chicken lights and chrome stacks all look so with the repo man. I'm not even reading that. How many owner operators wrote a business plan before buying a truck and joining a carrier, getting your own authority? Not many. I didn't. Trucking with T-Bone, what's up? What's a business plan, CDN? I thought as soon as you put your hands on the steering wheel, you start making 300 plus a year. Yeah, I usually spend 100, 125 a week. So there you go. So anywhere between $400 and $600 a month in food. So that comes out to about between $5,000 and $7,000 a year. That's a lot of money. That's why if you're a company driver, you want to work for a company that's paying you well. Because just the expense of eating. All I have to say is if your personal finances and budgeting are already screwed up, shoveling more money into the problem, buying a $200,000 truck is going to help those problems, especially if you have no discipline. Well, I agree with that 100%. But charging more for getting your own authority, I don't think that's going to solve anything. If people will sign the dotted line on a $200,000 truck, without a business plan, well, $5,000 in your authority is not going to make a difference. $100,000 miles, that's 7 cents a mile for food. Look at Pigtail with the math. Well, I guess I should have said $5,000 investment into my authority. The backup plan was always to lease on to a carrier that was well vetted and I could survive, which is what you did, but you had to get a new truck to do it. Quick Hits, probably a $200 a week in food and stuff. Pigtail's got the ramen rate per mile figured out. $12 to $15 if you're lucky. LOL. New authority on your first year will pay $18 to $20K. Roman Empire, thank you for the correction. I know that when I got an estimate, it was 14. And I know some authorities that got started with 8 and 9 grand, but that was before, the vid happened. So I imagine everything else has gone up. Well, insurance has gone up along with everything else. I was trying to make a point on competition. If there's too many trucks, the broker has all the leverage and hence controls my revenue. Competition is the problem, not the broker. This is true. It's supply and demand. A lot of people's business is now running them, not them running their business. Brian, that's a great point. I miss being on the road and talking to Brian. We've had some great conversations. We've met up a few times, and we've talked for hours about business stuff. And Brian's a smart dude. I appreciate your friendship, Brian. So, I mean, look, emotional control. I think I lost it a little bit by trying to get real with people. But here's the reality. At some point, you have to figure out which, sometimes it's too much sacrifice. Sometimes at some point you got to determine when are you willing and what are you willing to sacrifice. And is that good for you? And is it good for your mental state? Is it good for your emotional state? Because never going home and neglecting duties at home with your wife and kids, to me, seems counterintuitive. Like it seems like that's the last thing they need. And I know so many people that fall into that. My dad was in that trap. My dad, when he first became an owner op, he wasn't home hardly at all. I could have gotten a lot of trouble in those days, but I didn't. And if you have little kids at home, it's especially hard on them. Now, do you have more control if you have your own authority, or if you're working for a spot market company to be home when you want, so your kids can see you during the holidays and during the birthdays and everything else? Yeah, but only if your costs are down. Because your business costs dictate your freedom as well, and your discipline. We can all be motivated and stay out for 3 months. Anybody can do that. But what good staying out for 3 months if you don't know how to manage your money? What good's staying out for 3 months if you don't know whether or not you're making a profit each day? What good's that? I think I would rather go, you know what? Like, for example, I'll give you. I was sitting there at Ameristar Casino in the parking lot. I just delivered a load in Kansas City. I couldn't find a load. I thought, well, I'm just going to stay here and book something in the morning. Well, my wife called, says, hey, the dog's dying. I really need you home because this is going to be tough for everybody, and myself included. So you know what? Looked at my clock, pushed in the brake, and went home. If I had a $5,000 a month truck note, I don't think I would have been able to do that. I would have been like, oh, sorry, honey, I can't come home. Truck payments due. Does that not seem insane for anybody else? Am I the only one that sees that's backwards thinking? How many movies in Hollywood have you seen where the father works so hard that he's got no connection with his kids. How many of those movies are out there, right? Because that's what people really deal with. You know, the lack of structure of the family, lack of family structure is what's partially causing the downfall of this country. And like those guys that were going to go to Washington, D.C. to get broker transparency or whatever, you know, all they did was whine about all the sacrifice they made. Well, how about fixing that within yourself versus letting the government come in and fix it? I have an impeccable driving record. I've had my authority for over 3 years, and I'll tell you what, the first 2 years you will pay anywhere from $18K to $20K with Progressive for reefer coverage. That's good to know. So there's your cost of entry there, right there, Jackknife. See, I guess some people's cases getting their authority cost a good amount. Like my first time, I had $12,000 cash truck, $300 for the authority, and $2,500 for the insurance down payment, $3K plates, and permits. Okay, but you don't have your authority anymore. You don't have that truck anymore. So what happened? I mean, I'm not trying to pick on you, Jackknife, but what happened? That's a great cost of reentry. Not everybody has that, as Roman is pointing out. So what happened? You had mentioned that your house was paid off and you had a $12,000 truck. Now, fuel, I guess, fuel mileage affected you. So obviously, that I get that. But what happened? That would make a great video, Jackknife TV, if you haven't already done it. Because that's an excellent cost. That if everybody's cost for entry was that level, then we'd have this overabundance of trucks, which we already do. And there was a time where the government made it easy for that to happen. Now, with all the EPA regulations, the cost of fuel, and the cost of the permits and taxes and everything, even that's become more difficult. Is trucking a little tougher right now? Yes. But is it impossible? No. But it takes business sense and hard work, even with higher truck payments. Granted, yes, I agree with that. But business sense and hard work can only get you so far. Sometimes the sacrifices are too much. You as well, Steve and Yo Chuck. Well, thank you. But I guess I'm thinking about is the guys that put 2 to 5K down on Lone Mountain or some other place, throw their plates on a credit card and go out there to haul JB Hunt and $1.15 a mile. That's one tiny, tiny, tiny aspect of the trucking industry. It's like that. It's like that little, right there. It's like that little. That's not what's causing the rates to come down. It's supply and demand. Well, the Woods, what's up? The only way I'd stay out 3 months is if I loved the job or hated my life. I know people will stay out 3 months because they do not like their home life. I'm not that guy. I love my home life. Roman Empire, I was just quoted a few months ago from Progressive, was 3,500 down, 15K a year for 9,400 I with reefer breakdown, etc., and a speeding ticket. So it did go up for me, but I thought that was still reasonable. Media is trying to destroy how people view traditional family structures. Absolutely, Carnivore. I think you and I would get along, man. I think if we ever had a conversation, I think that would be a good conversation. Ironic that long haul keeps America moving and contributes to our downfall. Right? Boulder Woods, do you remember when Team Tiny had to pay for his insurance as a new CDL owner? They wanted to go owner op right out of the gate. Remember 30K figure, but are not sure. Yes. If you guys go to the Hauling Assets podcast, he talks about that. That guy's insurance was $65K for his first year. But you know what? He figured it out because he literally got his own authority in his own truck right out of CDL school. And now that guy owns a booming business helping people with their authorities. What's the difference between him and somebody, else? No, that international was in the 12,000. Wasn't the $12,000 truck? There was a 1989 377 Peterbilt before that. LOL, I wasn't really making videos back then. I was too busy concentrating on making money, I guess, with my authority, and then COVID showed up. Sounds about right, Dutch. I honestly do not remember the figure. Is only for the Western states. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it would have been 60 had it not been for limiting the states. I mean, how the market was going good, you could put $5K down on low mountain truck, and what, a few weeks lease to a carrier and easily pay for your authority and go out there on your own. I have never ever had the impression that getting my own authority was easy. I've had people try to tell me that, but I know my limitations. I'm not good with paperwork. I'd rather, it's selective, right? Would I get my authority if I absolutely had to? Yes, but I'd be better off now than I would have 5 years ago when I first entered the spot market. Look, I'm not okay. So I'm going to address this comment. I'm picking on you today, Jackknife. Like, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, concerning becoming your own business owner and stuff. But I think it would benefit everyone if there was a little bit less competition. You know who else believes in that, Jackknife? Swift, Werner, Schneider, FedEx, Amazon, Walmart. They wholeheartedly believe in that. There needs to be less competition. If I'm going to go out and buy the new Metallica album, I can either go to a mom and pop store and hope that they have it, or I can go to walmart.com, or I can go to even Walmart store, or I can go to Amazon and have it here within a day. Amazon and Walmart figured out, you know what? We got to beat everybody to the punch. And you have to make an actual extended effort if I want to support local local businesses. So yeah, that's exactly right. It would benefit everyone if there was a little bit less competition. And guess what? There are moves in the industry where they're trying to fix that. You don't want 1,000 different authorities or 10, however many there are. So yeah, you hit that nail right on the head. And you know who's going to win in that little bit less competition? The people that have their stuff together, the people that have the government in their pocket. There you go. Problem solved, right? Next thing you know, capitalism dies. You got corporatism, and now you're trouble having to make a buck. I'm seeing my normal, except for one thing. All this keto stuff is killing my market. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying now. Nah, you're okay. Soda's addictive, so you'll be fine for a while. Instead of having this giant influx of authorities, usually ran by people that couldn't balance a checkbook, killing rates and leading to extreme overcapacity. So they sign on with someone. Again, how far am I? I'm not too far behind on the comments. Again, how many people in the spot market have their own authority versus sign on with someone? Do you know that number? Like, does anybody know the percentage of owner operators in the spot market? How many have their own authority? Smooth, what's up? I stay out 2 months at a time, but I'm single with no kids, home for a week. There you go. And here's the thing, carnivore. This is the time to really shine. If you ever decide you want to start a family, this is the time to be saving your money, making the right moves, making the right investments. Trying to think of the YouTube channel I watch that he talks about he's a company crate driver, and he talks about making investments. Learn your craft. I don't know how long you've been driving, carnivore, but learn the craft, learn where you can make some money, save up as much as you can, so when it comes time to settle down and have a family, you got money in the bank and you're not trying to live paycheck to paycheck, because that's hard on the family. I want less competition, says Smooth. Who the hell who would not, right? That's why I don't open my record store I want, because there's already 2 stores that are going to do it better and have more capital than I do. So I don't. That's the and it I could do it probably for a cheap penny, but I don't. It's definitely no $180,000. Hell, I could probably sell my trailer and make enough money to start that business, but I don't, because you know why? It wouldn't pay my bills because of the competition that I have. Not only am I competing with 2 stores here in Springfield, but I'll also be competing with the Walmarts and the Amazons and Discogs and eBay. And I'm not willing to make that sacrifice right now. Someday, maybe, but not right now. I need to word my reasons better. LOL, I guess we need more quality owner operator, small authority competition. I mean, okay, yeah, well, just say that then. You're not going to get better quality owner operators by charging $5,000 to get your own authority. Just like you don't get better owner operators by, buying them $200,000 trucks. That's ridiculous. So what do you do about that? Well, you got to educate. You got to have business plans. Pigtail has got this business health assessment tool that I guarantee you, if 90% of owner operators actually do this tool, they're not going to, they're going to, they wouldn't become owner operators. You want to know how to do a business plan? You can do that with this tool, because it applies everything. And if there's one thing that Pigtail knows, it's math. And just and it has to be ingrained in you. Like, carnivore trucker talking about how much it costs to eat. Boom, right away, boom. There it is for the week, there it is for the month, there it is for the year. I was having a conversation with the driver the other day. I think it was Friday. I calculated the daily cost just like that. It took 5 seconds. If you know what your weekly note is, then you know what your monthly note is, and then you divide that number by how many days you want to stay out. And if you use 30 days, then that's a recipe for disaster. Because even if you stay out 3 months straight and then take a week off, that's still not 30 days. You can't run past your 70. You have to have a 34 in there. That's at least what, a day off a week? So if you're calculating your cost on 30 days a month, that's just hopeful thinking to make that number seem lower so you think you can stay in business longer, and that's absolutely not true. Divided by 20. If that number's scary, then don't do it. Are you going to work more than 20 days a month? Probably. But what if the truck breaks down? What if you have a funeral to go to? What if you have a sick kid in the hospital? What if your mom wants you home for Mother's Day? What if your kid has graduation? So you can't do 30 days a month. I don't care how hard of work. I don't care if you live in the truck. Well, I don't go home because I live in the truck. Okay. Doesn't mean you're working all 30 days. Unless you're doing some 8-hour day drive that makes you money at 30 day, and you don't have to take a day off and you're willing to do that, then but how again, that's going to be this tiny. This tiny in the grand scheme of things. Might as well just start buying lottery tickets. Your odds are probably better. Jackknife, competition brings innovation. We need competition in every sector of the economy. And there you go. Instead of eliminating the competition, become smarter about it. Look, if I wanted to get my own authority and work the spot market, that throws me in with millions of drivers, if not thousands, hundreds of thousands of drivers. And I recognize that. So like my own authority versus, I don't know, a carrier like trucking that's been around for, 6 years, 7 years. We have 250K in insurance, so right there that beats me. We have reefer breakdown insurance, that beats me. And I have a smaller list of brokers. I have, 7 years of broker authorities that we're signed with versus what? My TQLs and my CH Robinsons and my Uber and Convoy. Or the taking the time to fill out carrier packs, exposing myself to scammers. No, it's not that I want to work less or not as hard as I want to keep the guys that can't balance a checkbook that are definitely going to fail from day one, affecting my hard work and dedication. How, if somebody else is okay, Jackknife, you've taken over the live feed here, okay? So if someone else's inability to run their business is affecting your business, then you're in the wrong business. If I own a Subway and McDonald's next to me can't manage their business and that affected me, I why am I even in business if I don't have any element of control? Your carrier's doing Tyson dedicated, right? What if you have 5 drivers that do something so bad that you guys lose that Tyson account? And that can happen. I've seen it happen over and over. And now you have this $180,000 truck to pay for. You so are you going up to each driver making sure that they're doing their job? See, you lose an element of control like that. Because if you're working harder and smarter and better than the person next to you, naturally you should be doing better than them, right? I would not go into a business where everybody else's screw ups would affect my business. If I don't make it in the spot market, that's on me. It's not because some guy's out there doing TQL for half the revenue that I do it for. Because if the market was right, that person wouldn't be, and eventually costs catch up to those people and they puts them out of business. So it's supply and demand. And because we were able to get, $3 a mile and, 1,000 to 1,500 a day just running dry van, everybody got into it. That's the natural cycle of this. But economic conditions, elections, government intervention also controls rates. And if you're one of 10 trucks looking at one load on the load board, you're not going to get squat. And if you do, you got to show you got competition, right? You got to show that you're better than the competition. Whether it's one truck or 10 trucks or 20 trucks. What makes you different than the person who's supposedly affecting your hard work and dedication? And insurance. Why are insurance rates so high? Because everybody's screwing up. You have no control over that. That was the number one reason why I never got my authority. Because I could do everything right and keep my record clean, but because the rest of my competition doesn't know how to keep speeding tickets down or doesn't know how to keep cargo claims from happening, my insurance goes up. Insurance companies rule the industry. Once you guys figure that, and what did the competition do? Well, Schneider, Swift, Werner, they all became self-insured. They're trying to eliminate you as the competition. I mean, there'll still be competition out there. I guess let me put it as let's say a mechanic owning a shop. Why would somebody in the short term come to me when they go down the street to the crackhead out front of AutoZone to get the same work done at 90% off my prices and services? That's a horrible analogy. And if you go to a crackhead for your car repairs, that won't last long. That's not sustainable. So you just got to wait it out, advertise better. I've been able to still find the same rates I've always gotten, just have to work harder because me and my family have overextended ourselves. We got used to that little bump during the bid. Smooth Trucker says, how about working smarter, not harder? If you work smarter, you would care less of what anyone else is doing by yourself. That's where I'm getting at. Control the emotions, right? So deal with the consequences of that. I don't know. I guess I don't see most new authorities being a threat to the heavy hitters that are using the ATA to lobby their competition out of business, but you're right there. Chuck, you will be successful the way you operate. City, but a lot of those mega authorities that are around today were coddled by industry standards back in the 70s and 80s, though. That's why I find it hilarious that they're trying to lobby Congress. A lot of people are quick to scream that the rules are unfair, whether it be competition sports. I mean, look what's happening with exclusively male and female sports. The rules aren't fair, so you gotta subject to me. That's how a lot of smart businesses do. What they do is they create the rules. If they can't change the rules, they'll create the rules. But first they have to adapt, right? You can't become a good football player and claim that the rules are unfair. And so to sit there and say they were coddled, there's a lot of people coddled. And so they know, okay, so let's say that's true. Let's say they were coddled in the 70s and 80s, and they're lobbying Congress now. Well, they know how the game's played. They figured it out. They figured out, you know what, if we lobby this and lobby that and make the rules to our advantage, then there's less competition. Boom. The problem that you had was solved. Less competition. Just like Tyson probably, has a lot more advantages than a small mom and pop rancher, right? Trucking is cyclical. All the authorities that fail now will supply the trucks and trailers on the cheap for the rest on auction. Voice to text while driving is a hell of a game, right? I got out I got out the top of used equipment prices and the end of pandemic rates. Best move I've ever made, SST. If you're to run a record store in 2023, lots of competition, you have to either elevate customer experience, have live bands, autograph sessions, coffee shop listening parties from now. CDN, you are exactly right. And that's exactly how I would do it. There's a store in Arkansas that does that. They have a live venue. And that was one of the stores I was going to invest in, we're working on. But because they weren't good with their taxes, they went under. COVID put them out. And you're right. It has to be customer experience. Just like, bands that tour, now they have like you can meet the artist, meet and greets. You get a special package for, a t-shirt tour pass package that's just beyond the regular because they have to stand out. Because anybody can buy the album on Amazon, but give them an experience that's exclusive to the tour. Now they'll come out and see you, right? So I agree with that, CDN. That's exactly how I would do it. Read my mind, Mr. Rob. It's all good though. Conversations like this make for good content and help people out. Cool trucking, what's up? Authority's not easy. I'm still here making it because I have minimal overhead and I was able to pay off my equipment when the market was good instead of spending on frivolous things. There you go. Anonymous trucker, what's up? Or a record store with studios to rent out, add multiple streams of income within one business. That's absolutely. I want to start a store. I want to open a store. Check this out. Ask me if, see if I'm right here. See if this would be cool. I'm going to have a store that sells records, CDs, cassettes, guitars, and bass, and drums, and firearms, and self defense things. How about that? I think that'd be cool. Call it guitars and guns or something like that. I think that'd be awesome. There goes my yellow dollar sign. Thank you, Brian. Not to boast, but I will put backups in place as well if I had to drop this new truck. That light at the end of the tunnel is getting bigger every week. There you go. Big Tex, what's up? Hope you're doing well, my friend. RD, what's up? Then I may coast for a few and go over my business plan and lay out the next plan's moves. Mr. Charles, still waiting on that phone call. I'm still available. In my opinion, you don't get your own authority to make more money now. You get your own authority to build something that one day you might make more money. Owner-ops should make more than carriers. We are a little different than most other industries. Trucking is kind of like the general economy. If you flood the market with cheap labor, it's going to hurt the industry economy. That's absolutely true. The B hat should not discourage anyone from being an operator, but be better prepared to position oneself for the most likely success. There you go. I think if you get your own authority, you should probably plan on becoming bigger than one truck carrier within 3 to 5 years. We should recognize when people aren't meant to be owner ops. And that's kind of what Jackknife was saying. For people already in business, it should identify where changes need to be made to help become a healthy business or to help ensure you can stay in business. There you go. It's not a sport. Don't play against others. Play the course, like golf. There you go. Jackknife, I'd agree with that. I have a 5-year plan I'm working on that I created before getting my authority. There you go. I know PRTV, I had to slow my roll and get back on stable ground. Business objectives are all different. I might not want the risk associated with running more than one truck. Mark Ely, what's up? Yeah, you're right about that, Snorelord, about insurance. I was watching Tim Gentry the other day. Insurance went up $100,000 a year. That can really put a dent on your business plan, right? Because of their fire. Claims are your worst enemy, even above tickets. Don't forget that failure doesn't require quitting. Failure just taught you some lessons. Fix the issues, start over, but don't quit. There you go. What if all 5 drivers lose their medical cards for some reason? There you go, which more likely happen. Oh, speaking of insurance and making carriers limiting competition, the ATA was actively trying to get Congress to pass those higher requirements for insurance payouts. Who is that really going to? Ultimately, not the mega carriers, but the guys having to go to the insurance companies to purchase a policy. Marty says, you're right. You can't work 30 days a month because all the semi-breakdowns and federal holidays. There you go. No, Pigtail does not have a YouTube channel. I don't think the rules are unfair, but right now, with immigration in more liberal states handing out CDLs like welfare, you're a kid playing softball against Olympic athletes. Yes. If you have a truck and a trailer with debt, focus how to leverage your assets to build a consistent long-term relationship that will provide long-term revenue. Focus of marketing and building relationships. You're not driving right now doing housework. You got to keep up the Mother Day gifts, right? Yes, you did just hear a crow. I have a pet crow, everybody. No, I will not. I will not do a weed dispensary. Number one, there's 50 million of them already. So again, more competition. And number two, I will not partake in that. I don't smoke it. I don't like smelling it. I don't hang out with a whole lot of people that do it. And I believe that's part of the downfall of our society because they're instead of fixing the health issues with diet and mental stability, they just covered it up. That's all that is. So there you go. That's why I'll never open a liquor store because for the same reasons. Jersey Trucker, good morning. I buy boiled peanuts from a dude in a van on the way to the beach. He was a trucker for 20 years and makes better money now and works 4 days a week. I love boiled peanuts. I mean, if I'm in the South, I grab those. Keto or not, I grab them. That's one of my cheats. Pet crow because you're a Viking. There you go, carnivore. There you go. See, there you go, Jackknife. Now we're on to something here. Now we're on to something. So, anyways, do we have time to go to the low board? It's almost 9, so yeah, we'll do load availability at least. Let's take a look at what the market looks like. Ready? Here we go. Whoops. Wrong one. Here's our market for. There you go. What if you woke up one day and that was there? What would you guys do? Right? You'd be forced to figure it out. You'd be forced to figure it out, right? How many of you gasped at that? This is for animal carrier, by the way. So, no animal carrier loads on the 123 low board. There you go. Here's van. I'm gonna make that the thumbnail just to freak everybody out because you need to be freaked out. You need to because you're either gonna get control over it and figure it out, or it's gonna make you give up. No, you don't want to do deep fried peanuts, Jackknife. You gotta do boiled. This is your van. Look at Arizona light up here. Watermelons are running right now, guys. I don't know if that's why Arizona's green, but evidently there's an influx of freight coming out of Arizona. I'm going to guess it's related to produce. Yes, you can do produce and van if you got a vented van. There's a few interstate loads. Check AAA compliance, see whether you need intrastate for Arizona or not. All right, so let's do reefer here. In van, I would say your best areas are coming out of the southeast. I haven't had any problems booking decent paying loads coming out of the southeast. Now look at reefer here. Reefer's kind of spotty. It's all over the place. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for your loads. That you're going to have some challenges coming out of certain areas. And just because it's green doesn't mean that the rates are good. California is a perfect example of that. When you estimate the cost of fuel, the loss of time by driving the speed limit, California can be kind of a bust. Same thing with Northeast. So just, but Southeast is obviously taking a dump, except for the 2 watermelon states right there. And probably this area for watermelons and avocados as well. And let's look at flatbed and step deck. Real spotty up here in the northern Midwest. Definitely don't want to go northeast unless you know what your backhaul is going to be. And look at Missouri. Missouri sucks right now for flatbed step deck. But again, always the southeast is doing well. And we got a little bit of a pickup in California and Oregon. So let's see what's going on in Oregon here. See if we can spot where it's all going. It's going to all these California, Vegas, Colorado, Arizona. There you go. So there's your states for flatbed step deck that you're going to have better luck in. A lot more yellows than through here, especially. So what that does, that softens the markets around here as well. So it's going to be a struggle, regardless of your platform. So just recognize that. Old school would laugh at the red map and then go back to bed. Yeah, you got to be diversified, right? SSD. Oh, you're hauling a huge case of the Mindays. All right, so all right. All right, guys, that's enough. That's enough yelling at you for a minute. I'm getting kind of burnt out on this, to be honest with you. So, thanks for watching. Remember, open your perceptions up. Don't blame everybody else. Figure it out. And remember, the tough times is what will make you better. If not, if you don't believe me, look at your past. And you'll see the same thing. So, with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Aggression turns to screws, but be smart about it. Peace.